If you want to see a working chest that works just like this in Fortnite Creative, then you are in the right place. Alright everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom loot pool using the newest 2026 method. Now, this new method, I came up with myself. I haven't seen it used anywhere else, and I don't think anybody else has used it yet. But I think it is so much easier to manage than the old method, and I'll explain why in just a second. But first, exactly what this does is it tracks when somebody opens a chest, and it grants them 1 weapon, 1 consumable, and 30 materials, just as a Battle Royale chest does. Now, I know that this looks like a lot of devices, but once I break down for you, it really is very simple. So we're going to go through first the settings of the devices, and then we'll set up the event bindings, and then you're all set. But first, let me explain the old method really quickly and simply so that you can see why this one is better. Now, before, for all custom loot pools, or at least, most of them, they used a method where they had 3 item granters, 1 for weapons, 1 for consumables, and 1 for materials. Now, obviously 3 is a lot better than the 11 that I have here. So it seems simpler. But as you know, rarities are based on how rare a weapon is, obviously. So to get that effect, they just throw in 5 gray guns, 4 green guns, 3 blue guns, 2 purple guns, and a gold one. And that kind of works. Technically, then when you're doing that, it is harder to find a gold gun than a green gun. But the thing is, if you wanted to, say, remove a single gun from the loot pool, you had to clear the items from the item granter and place all of those weapons back in, and that was so many because you were placing 15 of each gun in the item grant. So with this method, although there are more item granters, you are putting in way less items, and it's quicker and it's easier to change down the line. And I'm going to stop talking now so we can get into it. But wait, just one last thing. If you need help on anything in Fortnite Creative, you can join my Discord server down below and hire me to come into your creative map. I can build whatever you want, or I can teach you one-on-one how to do anything that you need. So join the Discord server down below for more information, and thank you. Let's start with our random number generator. And when I'm going through these settings, all I'm looking at is the settings that I've changed. Any setting that I don't mention, you do not have to touch. So for your first random number generator, this is going to be our weapon random number generator. And you set your value limit to 15, roll time instant, and zone direction forward. That will give you this setup right here, with the zone that has 15 sections in it. Now drop down a trigger and change all of these settings that I have right here. These settings are going to be the same for every single trigger we have. So right now, I'd say copy and paste that trigger 10 times just to make sure you have them. And what you're going to want to do with these triggers is you have the first one here. It spans across 5 of the sections. Then the second one will span across 4 of the sections, then 3, then 2, then 1. And that is how we create our rarities. Each of these triggers will correspond to a rarity granter. And once a rarity is chosen, then it will pick a random gun from the rarity. So once you have this set up, you can really just copy it and paste it over here, because we're going to be doing the same thing for consumables. It's all the exact same settings. The only difference is in the event bindings. All right, so something that I didn't really explain properly when I was recording this was that you can really just make 1 trigger and granter pair with the event bindings that I will explain later in this video, and then copy that 10 times and use it for all of them, weapons and consumables. So if you want to do that, you can, or you can just keep following along with how I did it in this tutorial, which might take a little bit of extra work, but it's a little easier to keep track of maybe. So it's up to you. Now drop down an item granter, and you're going to want to change these settings. And then once again, just create 10 copies. Actually create an 11th copy for the materials. And place that one off to the side. Alright, then the last thing is the tracker. And you're going to want to change these settings. And that one. And once you have those all filled out, you're done placing and changing settings on devices. Now we're just going to get into the bindings. So let's start with the tracker where we just ended. And go into the events and say when completed, You want to cycle random item on your material item granter, whichever one you've set aside to be building materials. And then on both of your random number generators, you want to activate. And I just want to mention this cycle random item. It used to just cycle a random item and that's all it would do. And now they've changed the setting, so cycle random item also gives a random item to the instigator. I don't know why they made that change, but that is how it is now. So anytime you see cycled a random item, that is giving a random item to the player. And now before we move on to anything else, I want to show you how to put down a chest to open, because it's not the most obvious thing. As you can see, the stat to track in the tracker is chests opened, so you need a chest. And the way to do that is to go into your creative menu, and you can see that there's a chest tab, but there's no way to make a chest. So what you want to do is go to items. I like to just do something small like a rough ore, and you hit add to chest. A funny one to do sometimes is also bacon. I like that one. And then you just click on create chest, and now we have this almost empty chest. All it has in it is rough ore. And there's no way to make a chest that has absolutely nothing in it. But it works, you know. I don't think anybody is going to be complaining that they're getting a little rough ore out of the chest. All right, now that the tracker is setting off both random number generators, we actually don't have anything to set up in these number generators because they are doing all their transmitting through these zones. So in your first trigger that spans 5 spaces, you want to attach it to whichever item granter you've set up to be your common items. And then you want to cycle to random item. Now, it doesn't matter which order you do it in. You can either wait till you've done all the bindings or go ahead right now and drop all of the items that you want in the loot pool into the granters. Now, I'd recommend having like a spreadsheet on maybe Google Docs or something so you can keep track of what you have in these granters, because you're going to want to keep it consistent. Like, you should probably have guns go all the way from gray through gold. But it doesn't really matter what you put in it. That's all personal preference, up to you. I've just dropped in a ton of different rarity items. And what you've done here with the first trigger, that is exactly what you're going to want to do with the other 4 in the weapons section. So you'll have an uncommon granter, a rare granter, an epic granter, and a legendary granter. And then, you know, the legendary trigger cycles a random item in the legendary granter, and so on. And you just bind that one to that one, 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 and that one to that one. So I'd obviously recommend putting in good names for these things. You see, I have uncommon weapon item granter. I always keep the original name of the device in the names. And then over here, I have uncommon weapon trigger. So that just makes it super organized and easy to set up. And there's not much else to say about that. I believe that, based on what I've just told you, you should be able to set the rest of that up on your own. You're just connecting up trigger to granter. And believe it or not, it's exactly the same thing for consumables. You're going to want to have a gray, green, blue, purple, gold granter and trigger for consumables, and then you just tie them together with the event that cycles to random item. And once again, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is it. Now, hopefully that wasn't too confusing. I know it did seem confusing, but I'm really hoping that once I explain this out, it was much easier to follow for you guys. And if you still have any questions after that, then make sure to leave it down below in the comments, because I do read every single comment that comes through, and I respond to most of them. So if you've got a question and I know how to answer it, I'll type up a detailed explanation and try my best to help you below. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you agree that this system is easier to manage than the old one. Instead of having to drop 15 of each item into the granter, you're just dropping 1 of each rarity into the different granters. I mean, you understand. And I really hope that me spreading this method around will help creators down the road. Like and subscribe if you want to see more Fortnite creative content. Thank you all so much for watching. I should come up with a catchphrase, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.